All right, so to build on that last problem, we're going to segue into another example. So it says, how did you decide what operation to use in your rule? Like, how did we figure out what to do?
Oh.
Yes.
We did the inverse thingy. Like.
Yeah.
So. You read the direction. Yeah.
You read the. We listened to Mr. Adams.
Ew. Anyway.
What do you think they mean by math operation?
Like adding, subtracting, or.
Yeah.
So we did the opposite of what the prop operation. Yeah, I just said inverse thingy.
So how would I word? Well, that's how you solve the equation. But I'm saying, how did we? And everything you're saying is true. But let me rephrase the question because I don't think I stated the question properly.
Yeah.
How did we come up with the fact that we're going to multiply 0.25? And let's identify a few things. X represents what? Number of pencils, right? So X represents the number of pencils. Okay. Your contact is loose. Do you need to go? Well, you guys, hey. So now, what does Y represent? Yeah, how much the cost is, right? So this is the total cost based on X is the number of pencils. And so how would I write that? Well, you could say the cost depends on the number of pencils. Now, what's interesting is you guys immediately knew that it was 25 cents. And the way that you find, and I think this is what you were trying to say, the way that you figured that out in your head is you did the inverse of multiplying and worked backwards to find out that it cost 25 cents per pencil.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah. So the cost depends on the number. You guys act like I forgot a word. Number of pencils.
None of your math degrees helping you now.
So then 0.25 times the number of pencils is the cost. Now I'm going to change, I just realized something. This looks like an X. It is an X, but really I want to say multiply. 0.25 times the number of pencils is the cost. Okay? So it says, what if Carlos decides to buy erasers in the package and there are 6 pencils, 6 pencil top erasers, 2 packages of erasers? How do I figure out what the cost is? Well, first of all, what they're saying is there are 6 erasers is equal to 2 packages, right? How do I figure out how many erasers are in a package?
You divide 6 by 2 and that's 2.
Yeah. So I would say 6 by 2 equals 3 erasers per 1 package. Okay. Or I could say 1 package per 3 erasers. And we'll talk about that in a second. Okay? It really depends on what the question is. If they say, how many, packages, blah, 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 we got to figure that out. We have to write a rule. So it says, write a rule in words for the number of packages Carlos needs to get X number erasers. We're going to use X equals erasers. So you could write it like this. P, the number of packages, is equal to how many erasers he needs divided by what? No. How many, we're trying to figure out how many packages he needs. Yeah, divided by 3. Okay? Right? So if I say I need 9, sometimes if you can't figure out the rule, think about it for a second. If I said, so this is what I want you guys to think. How many packages are needed to get 9 erasers. So sometimes you could just make up a number and plug it in. And so when you don't worry about the algebra or the function or the rule, if I said, hey, how many packages does Mr. Adams have to buy to get 9 erasers? What would you do? You'd say 3. Where does that come from? 9 divided by 3. If I said Mr. Adams is going to buy 24 erasers, how many packages do I need to buy? 8. Does that make sense? So what am I doing with the 24? I'm dividing it by 3. So then X represents the total number of erasers, and then I'm mathematically dividing it by 3 to get the number of packages. Does that help? So sometimes if you're not sure how to set up, because you could multiply by 3, but then you got to do the math. If you do the math, you would say, no, that's 72 packages. I don't need 72 packages to get 24 erasers. And if you added it, you would say 4 plus 3. No, that's 7 packages. That doesn't seem right. And eventually you'll land on the rule. So here we go. It says, how many packages does Carlos need to get 18 erasers? So you guys already know the answer. What's the answer? 6. So we're going to say X equals, and what does X represent? The number of erasers, and how many does Carlos need? 18. So we're going to let X equal 18. That's going to be my input. Okay? We're going to plug that into the function. So this is my function. The function has a rule. And the rule is I'm going to take X divided by 3 or 18 divided by 3. And then that spits out an output, Y equals 18 divided by 3. But if you reduce it, it equals 6. So now here's the thing. If I were to graph this, I would say 18, comma, 6. So I put my X value in, I run it through the function, and it spits out a Y. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Any questions on that?
So we have to write all